now?
Yes. Yes.
I don't
只要可以
know.
看到上半身就可以了。
啊，可以，正好。
Hello, I'm David Corcione. I'm doing my project on full immersion English. I am interviewing Professor Jasmine Tang. She's a language professor at SUNY Geneseo and Monroe Community College. Hello, Professor Tang.
Hello， 你好。
Now, could I get you to give me some of your background?
Okay, I was born in Shanghai, China. Grew up in Taiwan, and when I was teenager, I left the country, followed with my parents because my father was a medical doctor, my mother was a nurse. At that time, my father has to take a medical team to North Africa, helping the country to do medical assistance for that country. Since we lived in Libya, that was a North African country, I had to learn Arabic at school as well as French and use my English language. After a year or so, I followed my family, moved to England. I did my nursing in England. After I became a nurse, then I followed my parents, moved back to immigrant to the States, California, and then I went to school in Albuquerque, New Mexico at the University of New Mexico. That's where I met my husband. My husband also is a professor at Geneseo in the math department. Our children was born, we have 3 children. Our children was born in the States. Therefore, my 3 children can all speak other language besides Chinese. Their mother language is English. Then they speak Chinese, French, Spanish, and Russian, some other languages. We like to travel. And I think that my father's philosophy, that's how we were brought up, is learning the different culture from living in different countries is the best education that it will.
Very good, thank you. Okay, I'm going to start with the interview questions. Do you think that bilingual education has any merit as far as teaching students from other cultures that come here to learn?
Well, it depends on what is your goal. If your goal is to live in this country, learn the best culture, and the best education, then you should emphasize on learning English language instead of using, depends on your mother language.
Thank you. Do you think it would be feasible for other countries to teach a bilingual English curriculum?
There's a good point and also weak point. Good point is always, like I said, our philosophy is to promote the language and culture because you cannot separate the language and culture. Therefore, if you live in the country, the mother language is, for example, English or Japanese or Chinese, then you should learn that language in order to survive, in order to educate yourself, in order to accommodate the custom. On the other hand, if you go to a country, living there, you don't learn the language, then your weak point is you won't be able to survive. You won't be able to be successful as you wanted.
Thank you. How do you think the use of phonics promote metalinguistic awareness, or the ability to think about the nature of language and help a student learn a new language?
Phonics is very important for any language. The reason why is it teaches you how to pronounce that language. Therefore, the basic structure for the student to learn the language is you must teach the students how to pronounce that language. As long as they can grasp the phonics, or for example, for Chinese language, it is a tone language. As long as you can grasp the pronunciation, then you're all set.
That's one of the things when I took your classes. When I learned English, we learned phonetics, and I was taught back in the 1950s. And immediately when I took your course in Mandarin Chinese, that's how I connected my learning to that learning, and it was easier. And I remember how you would have us go through the different phonetical sounds and had different symbols for each phonetical sound so that we would remember what they were. And that's how I connected it up. I specifically remember that.
That's good.
Why is it so important for a student learning a new language that is also the dominant language of the culture to have another student that is a native speaker of that culture tutor them rather than a student from their same culture? For example, we talked about my stepson Sungwon, and you recommended that he get an American classmate to help him with his English rather than another Chinese classmate that knows English better to help him.
You know, it is important for American tutor to teach Chinese students. The reason why is number one, as I said over and over, is the pronunciation. You need to have a native speaker teach you how to pronounce the language. Second is the way of how the native language is used. You not only learn how to speak, but also you are learning the culture, because language and culture are always together. You cannot separate language and culture, just like you cannot separate your body from the head away from the arms.
Thank you. Very good.
Does that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you. What do you see? I know that you teach both adults and children, and what do you see as the difference between, how do you approach teaching adults different than teaching children?
Okay, teach children, because the age, the early you teach them bilingual, the best, because they can copy from what you are teaching right away. Good memory, and also good way of meaning. What do you call that? Stop. 赶快停。
停。
Stop.
Okay. Stop.
I don't know. Yeah.
How do you?
This. Stop. Yeah.
Can you rewind back to you asked the question, and then because how do you pronounce that? Mimic, right? Is
this
it mimic?
stop. No. 没关系，他可以，他可以，
你回家再去搞。You go home do it.
他可以删掉中间的。
Okay.
可以 I don't know.
Yeah, he should be able to do it. Did you put stop or rewind?
我还不知道。
Okay, it's back on record now.
Okay, let me answer the question.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the difference between adults learning and children learning foreign language is for the children, because they are very easy to mimic adults when they teaching them how to speak the language and how to, for example, read and write easily. It is very easy to accommodate them. With the adults, it's because as the age grows older, your memory is not as good as you were young. Not only that, and also your tongue is you cannot use as relaxed. What do you use that one? As easy as you can mimic. Another word is your structure is less as structured as you wanted to adopt.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the memory and also the body function.
Yeah, we're so ingrained in what we are.
You're thinking, you're cognitive.
Yeah, we think in English,
right.
So or the native language. So when you're an adult, when you learn a new language, you're trying to translate everything in your mind, and you don't just let it flow like children.
Children, right? Children can absorb easily, but adults takes time to.
I know I do that
absorb.
all the time with Yuxian and everyone. I try to translate and then reply, and
right.
Sometimes I don't understand a word and I get stuck. Where a child would just translate as much as they needed to, and then it wouldn't be they wouldn't get as nervous, or
Not only that is they don't have any habit or any attention to try to translate. They just adopt naturally whatever the language they are going to use or going to learn. For adults, it's psychological, because you just automatically wanted to translate.
Mm-hmm.
For example, sometimes people don't know English. They tend to have an English and Chinese dictionary. Depends on that. Once you depends on something, you won't be able to reach your goal as high as you wanted.
Okay, what kind of barriers did you face when you were learning different languages from the times when you learned Arabic and French and English?
Okay, number one is when I was in the Arabic school, because the mother language was Arabic. And then, we can only communicate with English at the time. Not only that, is when you go to Arabic school, their native language, mother language is Arabic. At the time, the school require everyone has to learn French. Just like you said earlier, you have to be able to know the language, translate from Arabic to English or English to French. Therefore, there are so many languages you have to learn at once. It is difficult. Plus the age, like I said, if you are 17, 18 years old, try to learn other language besides your mother language, the physical and also psychological cannot comprehend as much as you wanted. On the other hand, language also